So I'm going to attempt to start this engine. It hasn't started for quite a few months, so I expect it's going to be a problem to start, because quite often it is this one if it's left standing for too long. But we'll see. So, on. In. Choke, I don't know. Can't remember. I'll try it with it first. There. Looks wet enough. Off. If you're wondering if it's the plug, no it's not, it's almost a new plug, well pretty much new, it's had like a start-up pretty much, that's it. But that was last year. So. Put the lid on, it's easier to start with the lid on. Right. Now I ran it hard to get the water pump working because it's only spitting. It needs a good run really. Right, let's give it one more check. Yep, good. This one's pretty damn reliable. It's had a new plug, and as soon as it gets a new plug it starts up first time every time. You can always tell when the plug's getting a bit old on this one because it starts to get a bit iffy with the starting, but that's after months, so like I say, near the end of the season. You bang a new plug in it, it's good to go. So, as you might have seen at the beginning of this video, you saw us working on the outboards. I say working on them, we were mostly just test running them, because I always run them up before I go. Obviously this one not so much, this one I go on the big boat, but pretty certain that one's fine. But the older engines I like to, obviously once they've all been done and that, take them out, drop in a bucket of water, start them up, make sure everything's working, water pump, and that they run fine and there's no funny business with them. And at the same time, I don't know if you can see this, but I actually sprayed the leg after I did the filming bit. I saw a bit of corrosion on the leg and I decided just to give it a spray. It's not the same colour, it's the same colour as these, because It's not meant to look pretty. It's basically to protect the. I'd rather protect my engine and look a bit funny. I mean, it doesn't look funny, but protect it and give it the wrong paint. And you'll see actually on the big one there, you'll see that I've actually got black down there, painted it black. That's just done with a paintbrush, and it's a bit rough and ready. But what I do with that is I spray the leg with a silver like this. I sand it a bit, spray it all, give it a couple more coats over its original coats. The colour's slightly off, but it's not too bad. And then I will cover that, and that is actually anti-foul. That's like a hard bootstrap anti-foul. And it goes around there simply because on my boat I cannot lift the engine up far enough to get it out of the water fully, and it dips in the water all the time. And that constant dipping, it gets weed growing on it. So I put the anti-foul to stop the weed. Now you think, well, you could just clean the weed off. You can. The trouble is the weed, it will kind of get on your engine, and then it'll kind of damage the paint and start pitting your engine if you start getting a bit of corrosion, and especially along the, like I said, the bottom edge. So I don't want that happening, and to protect my engine, or the leg of the engine, I just do that and give it a bit of anti-foul. Now, if you ever resold the engine, or wanted to make it back to its original, well, that's quite easy to take off. You can just take that off without any problem, because it's just anti-foul. It'll come off with some thinners or something. It'll come off quite easily. And underneath, like I say, it's got an extra couple of coats, but that's just to give it, to protect it a lot more. So anyway, yeah, so they're, like I said, they're good. We've got our oars all painted as well. These oars have been going now for many, many years, but they still work fine. I just carry these basically in the dinghy if my engine stops and I have to row in, and it has happened before. Usually it's the engine floods or something, but how long can you sit around waiting for your engine to dry out? So I just row sometimes. Plus I do row sometimes actually when I fish from the dinghy. I will even put a lure out the back and just row, so it's much quieter than using the engine. Or if I want to get close into some gullies, I'll row in as opposed to make loud engine noises through the water. So yeah. So anyway, these have been pre-tested. They're ready to go. Now I actually stopped filming and had to go off because my sister's computer decided to blow up. This is it here, right here. It's been gutted now because I had to quickly rebuild a new one. So I built another computer for her, or I had it semi-built already. It was like an old gaming one. And so I ripped this thing apart, just took out the CD burner player thing, shoved that in for her. Everything else on hers is new. The only thing I've got to do now is get the hard drive and recover the data off the hard drive. And as long as the hard drive hasn't fried with the computer, shouldn't be a problem. So I'll get all that back to her. And yeah, then we're kind of well on our way. Now my plan was, I was hoping to get out fishing this week, but the thing is, or last week, but the weather's been very, very sketchy. Got really cold, got really windy at one point, been raining all the time. It's just not fishing weather. So I haven't really got out. But next week, hopefully, I'll get out in the dinghy. That's what I'm hoping. Get out and do a bit of dinghy stuff. I've actually been taking it a bit easy. I given the fishing a rest for a week or two, get myself set up, ready, psyched up for the boat, because once that goes I've got to get all the pots down there and that sort of thing. On top of that, today I had an idea. It suddenly popped in my head. I'm going to make more lures. Only these lures look like that. What is that? That's what it is. Silicon tube. I just squared some out. They look like that. I mean, they're still soft inside a bit, so I've got to give them obviously enough time to dry. Whether they're going to, well, they'll probably be alright, but whether they'll smell after a few weeks or a week or two once they've been in the water, who knows. But I'm just going to try them out. I mean, you get lures. You can obviously go out and buy lures like that. See, lure. But I thought, why not just squirt some out. That's all I did. That's all I just squirted it onto there. And make some of these, and I thought, well, stick a hook in them. I could always stick a weight in them as well. And we'll just try these. And it's just going to be an experiment. This is purely for fun. Just one of these another nutty kind of experiments, just to see what works. But it could work. You never know. I reckon it will work. It'll catch something. I mean, whether it will catch loads is another question. But I did a few small ones as well, because what I'll do with the smaller ones is I will I'll put these on my pipe lures that I do. I'll make a string of 3 of these little ones, and just try them like that, and then these ones we'll just try casting. And I've done some slightly bigger ones. I can make them even bigger. I just cut a bigger hole in the tube sort of thing, or just take the head off the tube. And there's no moulds involved, it's just squirt them out and stick a hook through them or a lead head and see if they catch. Now on the lines of the lures, you may remember, if you'd seen the other video, I actually made all those plugs. And I said I was going to make 6, 8, something like that. Well, I did. And that's what I did the other week. I made a load of lures. So, lures. These are all the made ones. I did put a picture up on. I put a picture up on Facebook, and there's also one on Instagram, if you want to go and see them. But that's the lures. They are all just prototypes, and they are all ready and finished. They've also all been tested in a freshwater tank, and most of them sink because I put quite a bit of weight. I actually used a harder wood. I used a fruit wood, and well, it's an almond tree, but fruit wood. And when I tested them, they sank a bit more than I'd like. But that's in fresh water. Hopefully, salt water will make them a little bit more buoyant. We shall see. But anyway, I did originally start by using plastic fins like this, and they do work. This one works perfectly fine. And I got another one there with a plastic fin that works perfectly fine. And then for some reason all the other ones didn't want to work properly. So I actually took off the plastic fins and got some stainless. It's actually an old, from an old thermos flask that was broken. Stainless thermos flask. So I cut out the plate and I basically made, they're like spoons, almost like spoons, the bibs. And they work perfectly now. They all run really well. And hopefully they'll all catch fish. But like I said, they've had their pre-test in the water where I've tuned them, where sometimes you've got to take that wire at the front there and bend it a little bit left or right, depending, because if you add shot in things you can make them a little bit heavier, or if you don't cut dead straight. So you need to bend that pin left or right just to make them stop them from doing that. So anyway, that's done. They're all tuned up, or as good as I want them tuned, and then they're going to go out and be tested in the seawater. And we'll find out if we're going to catch anything on them. And another one, and if you remember this one, I said ages ago about my best lure, or over time what was my best lure, was the old Magnum 10cm floating. I've actually revamped this one. I obviously painted it underneath because it was looking a bit rough. But I said originally that on this one, this is the last one I've got, the wood was getting a bit rotten or soft because it's obviously come through the paint now there. It's a very old lure. Well, I actually went out and bought some of this, which is wood hardener, and it's basically like a very watery resin, and you pour it into rotten wood and it makes the wood go like concrete. And that's what I've done. So now it's nice and hard, it's all fixed, it's got new hooks on, it's been resprayed. It's going to need to, I just need to give it a bit of, oh, I forgot the name of it now, thinners, whatever, just to clean it up, because it's got a little bit of overspray, but that'll come off quite easily. And then that lure will be tested again this year. I will take that one out and see if we can catch with that one. While I was at it, actually, I had this little one I always said that never caught anything. I mean, it looks really good. This is what bugs me. It looks really good, it swims really good, and it doesn't catch. But it did have a sort of bright orange gold sort of belly. So I've painted it white now. I'm going to try again, because I haven't given up on this lure yet. Because it just looks really good. If that doesn't work, I'm going to spray the whole thing white and then try again. And if that doesn't work, then I'm chucking it away, because I've had enough. But I'm determined this lure is going to catch. It just looks good. It must be the colour that they're seeing of it. Maybe they're seeing ultraviolet colours in some weird and wonderful way that we don't see, and it's just not a good lure. But everything else about it says fish. Another one I was working on, this one here, I've used this once. The trouble with this, it never goes down deep enough. It's so shallow. And if you think, well, use it off the shore, it's incredibly light. So it doesn't cast well at all. So what I did is, I drilled a hole in it. Because it's already got bearings in it, it's hollow. We know that. It's not the greatest of lures, it's a cheap one. Drilled holes in it, or a hole, and I dropped some shot in it, so I've actually made it heavier. So now it's actually quite a nice casting weight. So we'll try it again. Because I have caught a bass on it, but like I say, it was a struggle to control that lure, to get it to swim right, or, you know, when it's such a small lure, trying to cast it. But hopefully that'll work. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go out and buy more of these, because these pins that are in them, they literally are just stuck in there, and they are crap. They don't seem to want to pull out, but they're not going to last long, put it that way. So again, we'll give it a try and we'll see what happens. And these ones, they have caught pollock, but I've kind of given up on them. Flat lures. I don't actually do well with flat lures for whatever reason. Like lures that are like flat. This thing, I mean, it looks absolutely amazing, and that's its problem. It swims too good. Right. So, I'm going to show you a little tip while we're in here. I keep seeing this, people asking about putting line on their reels. What's the best way to do it? Well, there's the simplest way to do it, and I think it's the best way to do it. I'm sure people who sell you line spoolers will disagree with me, but this is a bamboo stick. You can use a dowel, and it's basically strung up with 2 bits of string, one there, one over there. Then you stick your spools on like that, and that's what you do. You put your line on, and you just reel flat out. Your line goes on your reel, you're done within seconds, job done. And you can put little spools on like that, and you pick whichever spool you want at whatever time, shove it on, and away you go. Now you might think, well, what about over spooling if you reel too fast? It doesn't happen. If you put spools next to each other, they act as brakes. So when this stops, it rubs, and it basically stops it. Obviously I wouldn't stop at full speed completely dead, I'd just slow it down a bit, but I've never had a problem with it. And if you think, will it unwind the next spool? This one actually does, because it's a huge spool against that. They tend not to, as you see there, it doesn't spin the others. But what you do is you just put the line from the back coming down, and this one comes from the front down. So whichever one you pull, it'll wind the other one back on if it turns the spool. So you won't get like the spool next door losing all its line. And that is how I spool all my reels, and I change my lines a lot, especially when I used to shore fish, because I don't like damaged line. So I change my lines quite a lot, and that's the way I do it, and it's just so simple. There's nothing to it. You don't have to use a bamboo stick, you can use a dowel if you want, or a round bit of wood. And like I said, just make sure you've got a couple of spools on there so you get a bit of drag, and you won't get it tangling up on us, or on you. Right, I need to put a landing net. The famous landing net. You know, the one that always gets stuck on everything? Yes, yes. Whoever of you have watched my previous videos on the boat will know the landing net. This thing's a bit, you know, it's actually got a wooden handle on it, and it's not actually the handle for it. The handle for it, that's the handle for it right there. That's it there, see? But when I was dinghy fishing, you'll see that the handle is longer by that much, by a foot. When I was dinghy fishing, when I used to put it in the car, it's too long and it was being a pain in the ass. So I made a shorter wooden handle, and now it works really well. Although I should really take it off and put this handle on when I'm in the boat, because as you see sometimes when I'm stretching to reach the fish, this handle's a bit short. Last year I just didn't bother, I just left the wooden handle on it and left it at that. And all I do is it just pushes in there, you see, and you originally had a bolt, but the bolt always fell out, you know how bolts are. I just stick a zip tie through, and that's enough, because you're actually using it like that, and it's not coming off with a zip tie. And you can just cut it off and then change the handles over really easy. So that's what I'm going to do. Although I think I'm going to need a new landing net at some point, because I had to resin this one back in here and put a screw through it, because it kind of rotted or broke and snapped. But still a bit of life left in it yet, I hope. And if not, we might do a video one day. We'll make a landing net. That's something have I ever made a landing net? Let me think. Nope, don't think I have. Making a landing net. Actually, no, I made a shrimp net. Same sort of thing, but it wasn't a landing net. Right. So anyway, our rods are all set. Our boat rods are all set up here. You see, they're all lined up, looking very, very nice, all sparkly. That one's sparkly because it's new. But they're all set. All the eyes have been fixed in these rods. The only rod that needs its eyes fixing now is one that's been doing for a long time, and that's a beach caster. Now, many years ago, a tree fell on this building, and it crushed. It just went straight through the this shed. Luckily my engines weren't in here at the time, but everything else was, including the rods, and a whole bunch of the rods got destroyed basically. And this one here survived. Now I've got eyes hanging off the top of it, that's replacement ones, but a lot of these eyes, the actual ceramics are smashed. The rods survived, but the eyes didn't, so I need to replace all the eyes on that, and I can't be bothered to do that one at the moment because it's, I don't know, it's so boring whipping eyes on. You know, what, doing one? Yeah. Doing more than one? Nah. But I'll have to get around to it. I'll do it before this winter, and then we'll take that rod out fishing again, because that rod hasn't been out for hang on, the tree fell on the building. No, that rod hasn't been used for 7, 8 years, something like that. So quite a while. But yeah. Right. Anyway, this was just going to be a short video. I don't know how long it is now. Hopefully it's not too long. Yeah, it's just an update, just to let you know what was happening. Like I say, hopefully we'll be getting out this week or the end of this week, all down to weather again. Then the boat hopefully will go into the water, and then we'll get going on that. Now the first few days I need to get pots and things out, so I'll be quite busy taking stuff out, dropping obviously stuff around places, and then we're going to go and do things that we were going to do. We are going to go and test these things, just for laughs. We are going to go and test our plugs that we made. We've got the pot that we built, which is that wooden box. That will be going out, so we're going to go and try that. That'll have to soak for a couple of days. If you make those wooden pots, just make sure you put some extra rocks in or whatever, just to sink them for the first day or two to soak up all the water. And then you're good to go after a day. Or you can just take them down the beach, wherever you are, and just put some rocks in them and just leave them on the beach for a couple of days, as long as somebody doesn't come and pinch them. And that will soak up the water as well. So I just stopped the camera there because I suddenly got into deep thought, and I thought to myself the other day, actually, I filmed a bit of going down and checking the mooring chain, so I might sling that on the end of this video if it isn't too long. That bit's not too long, just if this bit's too long, the chatting. Yeah, I went down and checked the stern rope, so I was going to sort of make a deadman maybe, but then I decided the rope went so far down under the sand and the chain looked pretty good, so I've left that on. But you'll see that in the clip that's coming, if this video isn't too long. And if it is too long, then you won't see this, so it won't really matter. Anyway, I've got to go now. I've started to babble, and you know it's getting late, and I've got things to do before it gets too late. So we'll see you, hopefully, doing some fishing sometime this week. So we're actually checking the mooring today, because this is a chain. You can see how knackered it is. This small chain is what I put on as a backup, but as you can see it's breaking everywhere, the big chains. And this is where it goes down to now. I've never actually dug this one up because this one was here before I had it, but it appears to go to stainless, so interesting. I'm going to have to look at that a bit more. See, if you look here, where it's buried, it's almost in perfect condition. Look at that chain. That's in really good condition. It's probably been down there. It's probably older than me, that chain. But it comes up to this one, so this is obviously what's holding it down there. So I don't know if I want to dig up anymore, because I don't want to disturb it, because you know it's better to leave it if it's holding still like that. This is only the stern rope. It's not the main rope, so there's that. So I might be for undoing these stainless. Let me have a closer look. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Right, it just keeps going on forever, this chain, but it seems alright, so I'm just going to put a new chain onto that. Right, I've just zip tied it for the moment. I'm going to come back with a new rope put on that end. I'll attach it all on later, but it's in position, it's not going anywhere. It's bolted down. Just got to, like I say, put a bit of rope. I'm going to move this smaller chain up because this is a better one here. Attach it to that, get rid of the old piece that's there. You can see it's the old chain, the really old one. You see how it rots, it breaks up where it's out the water, but as it goes to the sand, it starts to get better and better.